Okay. First thing I want to do, I'll go to a hive. It's got a good strong laying queen and has gentle bees. So that's the queen that I want to graft from. So what I'm looking for is 12 to 24 hour old larvae. They're an egg for 3.5 days, then they turn into a larva. And like this larva here, this white, I don't know if you can see it, the white grub looking, those are way too old. I need little tiny, I mean you gotta have good magnifying glass or good glasses to be able to see them. And those are the ones you want to graft from. And these are too old, so I set that one aside. You see the bees coming up to the top, kind of seeing what's going on, but they're not attacking me. Alright. This has got eggs, but no larvae. Let's put this camera a little bit. That's honey there, kept honey. No larva there. It's a good prospect here. There's a lot of eggs. A lot of eggs. There's the queen right there. Right there. She's not marked. I mark a lot of my queens, but this one's not marked. So she's laying on this now. A lot of eggs, but no larvae, so I may not be able to use this hive. I saw some, but not much. I'd rather take a frame that's got a lot of larvae in it. Find more of a choice. So we'll have to move on to another hive. Okay, now the choo-choo is gone. Okay, this frame here has got what I want. It's got eggs and young larvae. I want to make sure the queen's not on here. Because I brush these bees off, and I really don't like to brush the queen. I just soon just take her off, set her aside. I don't see her. I could shake these bees off, but since I'm going to be grafting from them, I don't want to dislodge any larvae, so I'll just brush them off. No, I didn't get stung once. Okay, now put this back together to where they're, well, no, there's one. So I can come slip that frame back in a few minutes. And we'll take this frame up to my shop and we'll graft from it. Okay, I can't get real close with this camera, so I hope this shows up good enough. I use this magnifying glass. A lot of people don't, but I find it easier. Now I'm looking for 12 to 24-hour-old larvae, and I use this little tool here to scoop them out of there and put them into these cups. And you can tell how old they are by, once they're a C shape, they're getting a little too old. And so just a few hours can be too old. So I go in, I find the larvae I want. And there it is, there's a larva on there. That's royal jelly that you're seeing. I know you can't see the larvae, it's too small. So I take it and I put it in the cup. This has a plunger on it. It kind of pushes it off there. There's one, and I'll take a damp towel to keep it from drying out and put it over it, and it kind of helps me keep track of which ones I've done. So I'll go through and find another one. There's a good one. Okay, that one's perfect. I place it in the cup. And after I do this, I'm only doing about 10 today. After I do this, I will go put these that I've grafted into what's called a cell starter. And what it is it's a queenless hive that I have put lots of young nurse bees in it. This comb's kind of, it's better to use older comb. All bees are nurse bees when they're first born. All bees do the same job as they grow. The younger bees are the nurse bees. They take care of the brood. They're the ones that produce the royal jelly. And to make queens, you got to have lots of royal jelly. And the worker bees get royal jelly too. The queen and the worker bees are made from the same egg. But when they're making a queen out of it, they'll feed it a lot more royal jelly for a longer period of time, and that makes it turn into a queen. So I put this into a hive that has no queen, and they're just starving to make themselves queens. So I have a lot of nurse bees in there just packed. So I'll put these in there, and they'll go after these larvae and make queen cells out of all of them because they need a queen. I do that you know, all summer long. And I'll put a pheromone strip in there that smells like a queen, so they think they have a queen. Once I take these away from them in 5 days, they'll be capped and ready to put an incubator in about 5 days. I will take those, put them in the incubator, then I'll put a pheromone strip in there so the bees think that they have a queen, so they don't go crazy. And then when I need to graft again, I will take that out. I'll take the pheromone strip out, put more larvae in there, and they'll make me more queens. I don't think I got that one. I keep this in my mouth, by the way, to keep it moist. Roller jelly's good for you. It's bitter, but it's good for you, actually. A lot of uses for it. It's hard finding the exact right larva because they grow so fast, and you can miss it by just a couple hours. That's perfect. Perfect. Okay, so I'll finish this and then we'll go on to the next. I'll show you what I do next. Okay, next what I do, I went and put this frame back in the hive I got it from. Now I'm going to put these into my cell starter. I put these in a frame like this, turn it upside down. That's darn thing's coming loose. And I slip this into the cell starter, and we'll go do that. Okay, this is my cell starter. These may be a little pissy because I keep taking the queens away from them. But this hive is just packed full of bees. You have to have it just packed full, overflowing with bees and young nurse bees. Nurse bees make the royal jelly. So here's my pheromone strip. It smells like a queen. Kind of holds them over. I'll take this center one out. I put it in there a few days ago, and you can see they're drawing it out. They drew all this wax out in 3-4 days, and now they're making more. So we'll take those off. Now we'll put the cells in there, and they've been without cells for a few days, so they'll go crazy and go right after these larvae, and they'll start filling them full of royal jelly and making queens out of them. In 5 days they'll come back and they'll be capped and ready to go in the incubator. That went rather well. Okay, then I will show you what I do with it after they come out of the incubator. Now I'll need to feed these, and I'll need to put pollen on them because they have to have lots of pollen, lots of resources, lots of sugar syrup, because it takes a lot of resources to make queens. So I'll do that in a little bit. Okay, these are my little cute little queen mating nukes. These only have 2 frames in them. Those boxes, the other boxes you saw, have 5. I use only 2 frames because it's less bees needed to get a queen mated. I'll show you what it looks like. This one has a queen in it. I can use her. I take the queen out of here, then I'll put a virgin queen back in here. This has 2 frames. So I'll take the queen cells out of the incubator. Takes about 8 to 9 days for them to hatch once I put them in the incubator. And those are virgin queens. The virgin queens I put in here. I spray them down with sugar syrup and essential oil so that they're confused, because if sometimes you put a queen, just put a queen in there, they'll kill her. So I spray the queen and I put her in there, and I spray the bees so they all smell the same, and they pretty well usually accept her. And then after about 5 days, after she has got her wings set and all her skin sloughed off and all that, after about 5 days, she will go out on a mating flight. And she may go out on 1 mating flight, she may go out on 2 or 3, but she'll get mated with about 15 to 20 drones, which are male bees. They meet in a congregated area about 100 feet in the air, and they mate. Now the queen has got mated. Now she has to make it back to this hive without getting eaten by a bird. She's full, when she flies back, she's a pretty slow flyer because she's full of like 15 to 20 sperm plugs. She's a lot heavier. She's a slow flyer. She has to make it back to this hive. That's why I have this hive turned this way, this one facing one way, this hive, and the different colors, because the queen will more easily recognize that she came from this blue hive facing this way. She'll orient herself to this hive before she flies out and know what hive to come back to, because if she goes in the wrong hive, they'll kill her when she comes back. So if she has to make it back without getting eaten by dragonflies, birds, wind blowing her off, or weather storm coming in, making her where she can't get back. So right now, there's not as many drones out, so I probably may get 30 to 40% return. At the best of times, you'll get maybe 70% returns. So I could have 10 virgin queens in these hives right here, and I might only get 3 or 4 mated queens out of it. So it's an ongoing thing, and it's a lot of luck. And the longer the year goes on, the less drones there are, the less chance you're getting your queens mated. So that's about it.